All right, so you've got this big science movie quiz coming up. Sounds pretty intense.
Yeah, it can be.
Well, we're here to like help you get ready for it. We're gonna, offer some expert advice,
That's right.
and we're gonna call this a deep dive into all the study materials you need. Just some insider tips and tricks,
It's drawn from real educational research, so
Exactly. So, like, think of this as your secret weapon.
I like that. A secret weapon.
Yeah.
What's so cool about these quizzes is that they're not like normal tests, right? It's not just about memorizing a bunch of facts and spitting them back out. You really have to know the science, but you got to apply it
Yeah.
to what's happening in the movie. You need to be thinking like a scientist and a film critic, you know?
Yeah, that's what makes this kind of quiz so tricky. It's like
Yeah.
two challenges in one. But, okay, let's start with the basics. Can you tell me a bit about the movie itself? Like, what are some of the main scientific concepts that are in it?
Absolutely. So understanding the core science of the film is really the first step here. Super important. You can't just watch the movie like you normally would, Just sit back and enjoy the special effects.
Right.
You got to be engaged. You got to be like a detective, almost looking for clues.
Okay, so it's not just about enjoying the movie, it's about really thinking critically about the science that's behind all the action and the cool special effects.
Got it. So how can I make sure that I'm really absorbing all this information while I'm watching?
Okay, so there's this awesome technique, and it's called the two-column note system.
Oh, I like the sound of this.
Yeah, it's pretty simple, actually. Just imagine you're dividing your notes into two columns. On one side, you write down, like, the key scenes or events from the movie, right? And then on the other side, you link those scenes to the scientific concepts that they're actually showing.
Oh, so it's like creating a visual map of the movie. Yeah, exactly. And when you do this, those scientific concepts, they just become way more memorable because they're attached to a specific scene in your mind. It's not just some abstract idea floating around anymore.
Yeah. It's like it becomes real, right?
Right. And the best part, research shows that actually doing this active engagement, it makes a huge difference in how much you remember later on.
Wow, that's so cool. Okay, so we're watching the movie like scientists. We're taking notes like detectives.
I like it.
What else can we do to like really prep for this quiz?
Well, another great tool you can use is mind mapping. So after you watch the movie, take a piece of paper and just put the title of the film right in the center.
Okay.
And then you're going to branch out from there. Connect the different scientific themes that are in the movie.
Yeah.
So this is an awesome way to kind of visualize the bigger picture, see how all these different concepts fit together.
So instead of just memorizing a bunch of random facts, I'm basically creating this web, like a map of all these interconnected ideas. That's really helpful.
Exactly. You're not just repeating things. You're starting to like really understand them.
Yeah, I get it. It's like a deeper level of learning.
Right.
Okay, I'm totally on board with this. Now let's talk strategy, right? Let's
Right.
talk about those multiple choice questions. Sometimes those can feel a bit like a guessing game, to be honest.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
They could be tricky. It's interesting, though, because with multiple choice, especially in science,
Yeah.
it's not really about, do you just know the facts or not?
Right.
They're trying to get at something a little deeper. Can you actually use your knowledge,
So it's not enough for me to just remember an equation. I have to know how to actually apply it in a different situation, like a real life situation, potentially.
Right, exactly. And here's a tip, like a pro tip, all right? Try making your own multiple choice questions based on the film.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, think like your teacher.
Okay.
Like, what kinds of questions would you ask if you were writing the quiz? That forces you to really engage with the material and try to anticipate what's going to be on the test.
Wow, that's actually a really cool idea. Because by coming up with my own questions, I'm actually thinking more critically about the material and how it could be, how it could be tested.
Exactly. And it can really help you understand what the most important points are.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Another good tip is to look out for those absolute terms.
What do you mean by that?
Words like always, never, all. Those kinds of words. In science, those are often a red flag. Answers with like more nuanced language words like often, may, can sometimes, those are more likely to be right. Because science is complex. It's not black and white.
Right.
So look for those shades of gray.
So it's about recognizing that science is rarely black and white, right? It's about understanding those shades of gray, all those complexities of the natural world.
That's a really great point. Okay, what about short answer questions? Any tips for how to approach those?
So with short answer questions, you got to come up with your own responses, right? So you're really tapping into your memory. And for that, flashcards are super helpful.
But it's not just about writing down a definition.
Right.
It's about making sure you can actually explain the concept in your own words.
Got it. So I'm not just memorizing a term, I'm really understanding it and being able to like put it into my own words.
Exactly. And don't forget the visuals. A lot of these documentaries, they use amazing graphics, animations to show you how things work.
Yeah.
So practice describing those visuals using scientific terms. It's almost like you're writing a caption for a science textbook or something.
It's like I'm translating what I'm seeing on the screen into a clear explanation, like a science journalist reporting on a brand new discovery. That's a really cool way to think about it.
Right. It's all about making those connections between the visuals and the science.
That's great advice. I love it.
I'm glad to hear it. Now, let's move on to those long answer questions.
Oh.
Those can be a bit more, a bit more challenging, I guess you could say.
Yeah, intimidating even.
But they're also a chance to really show off what you know.
Okay.
So how do we tackle those? Let's dive in.
All right, let's do it. I'm ready.
Perfect.
Yeah, long answer questions. Those are tough.
I hear you. It's a different kind of thinking, right? It's not just about spitting out facts. You really got to, synthesize all this information and make a solid argument.
Okay, so it's not just about listing facts, it's about building a well-structured argument.
You got it. Think of it like weaving a tapestry, okay? You're taking all this evidence from the movie, all these different threads, and you're weaving them together to make a bigger point.
I like that. That's a great analogy. So I should be looking for those aha moments, right?
Yeah.
Where the filmmakers are really making a point about the science.
Yeah, exactly. Those key takeaways, those are your golden threads, and you got to see how they all connect, because long answer questions, they often want you to bring in information for different parts of the movie. So having some good summary notes that highlight those relationships, that's going to be super helpful.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so how do I make sure my answers are organized and, they hit all the key points? Because I can get a little rambly sometimes.
Structure, structure, structure. It's all about structure. Think of it like a mini essay. All right, you start with a clear intro, lay out your main point. Then you've got your supporting paragraphs where you bring in all that evidence from the movie, specific examples, quotes, anything that backs up your argument. And then you finish strong with a conclusion that really ties everything together.
So I'm basically a lawyer, but instead of a courtroom, it's my science quiz.
That's a great way to think about it. Be persuasive. Show that you really understand the material. And here's another tip. Practice. Practice analyzing the movies like scientific narrative.
What do you mean by that?
Ask yourself some tough questions like, how did the film explain this concept? Or what evidence did they use to support their claim? Really dig into how they're presenting the science.
So I'm not just watching for entertainment, I'm really engaging with the science on a deeper level.
Right? You're becoming a science critic.
I like that. Okay, so we've talked about active viewing, we've talked about note-taking, we've talked about how to approach different question types. Now let's talk about revision. How can I really make sure that I'm locking all this information in?
So passive reading, that's not going to cut it here.
Right.
Especially with these science films, because visuals, they're such a huge part of the storytelling, right? So you got to incorporate that into your studying too. What I recommend is make some visual aids that kind of mirror how the film presents the science. So like draw some diagrams of processes, make timelines of events, even sketch out key scenes and add some scientific annotations, whatever works for you.
So I'm basically turning my notes into a graphic novel or like a storyboard.
Exactly. Make it visual, make it fun. Because guess what? There's actually research that shows that reproducing visual information, it really boosts your memory, especially for stuff that you learned visually in the first place.
That's amazing. Okay, so visual aids, check. What other study techniques do you recommend?
Have you ever heard of the Be the Teacher technique?
Be the teacher? No, I don't think so. Tell me more.
Oh, it's super effective. Basically, you explain the film's scientific concepts to someone else, like you're actually teaching them.
Oh, interesting.
It forces you to organize your thoughts, it helps you identify any gaps in your understanding, and it boosts your confidence big time.
Okay, I like that. It's like I'm giving a mini lecture.
Yeah, exactly. And, if you don't have anyone to practice on, you can always just record yourself explaining the concepts and then listen back.
So I'm becoming a science communicator. I'm loving this.
There you go. And it really helps to solidify the information in your mind.
Yeah.
Now, is there anything specific I should keep in mind? Because this is a science documentary. Any special strategies?
Oh, absolutely. So science documentaries, they often focus on like experimental procedures, right?
Yeah. So pay close attention to any scientific investigations that are in the film. Make sure you understand, like, the whole process, the purpose, the methods, the conclusions. Those are prime targets for quiz questions. Think of it like you're a detective at a crime scene trying to solve the mystery of the experiment.
Ooh, I like that. So I'm not just watching an experiment. I'm trying to like break it down and figure out all the different pieces.
Exactly. Figure out the who, what, when, where, why.
I love it. Okay, that's a
Mhm.
great tip. Anything else?
Yeah, don't forget to connect the movie to what you're learning in class, Go back and review your textbook or your notes, anything that relates to the film's content, because that's going to help you reinforce those scientific principles, and it'll also prepare you for questions that might go beyond what's shown in the movie itself.
Got it. So I'm basically bridging the gap between the movie and the classroom. It's all connected.
Precisely. It's all
Yeah.
about creating this holistic understanding of the science. And, before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a thought-provoking question, something to really think about.
Okay, I'm ready.
Think about the most compelling scientific argument that was presented in the movie. How well did the filmmakers actually get their point across? What evidence did they use? And did you find it convincing? Did they change your mind about anything?
Wow, that's a really great question. It's making me think about the movie in a whole new way, not just about the science itself, but about how it's presented, how it's communicated.
Exactly. And that kind of critical thinking, that's going to help you on your quiz, for sure, but it's also going to make you a more informed and just more discerning viewer in general.
I love that. It's about so much more than just getting a good grade.
Right. It's about lifelong learning.
Okay, I think we've covered a ton of ground today.
Yeah, we have.
But let's do a quick recap just to make sure everything sinks in.
Sounds good.
First and foremost, active engagement is key. Don't just passively watch the movie, treat it like a learning experience.
Yeah. Be present, take notes, ask questions, really think about what you're seeing.
And then tailor your revision to each question type, right? Multiple choice, short answer, long answer. Each one requires a slightly different approach.
Exactly. Multiple choice. That's about understanding and application. Short answer, you got to be concise, use those scientific terms. And long answer, that's where you get to shine. Synthesize, build that argument, show off your critical thinking skills.
And don't forget about visuals. Mind maps, diagrams, sketches. Those can be a game changer when it comes to remembering all this information.
Absolutely. Give your brain a visual boost.
I love it. Well, I feel like I've got a toolkit now.
I hope so. That was the goal.
A toolkit to really prepare for this quiz. I'm feeling much more confident already.
That's fantastic. And, confidence, that's half the battle.
You're so right. And what I really appreciate is that these techniques, they're not just about memorizing facts for a test. It's about developing a deeper understanding of the science, which is, way more valuable in the long run.
Couldn't agree more. It's about nurturing that curiosity, that love of learning. And who knows, maybe this quiz will spark a lifelong passion for science.
I love that. That would be amazing.
It would. And remember, science isn't just in textbooks and classrooms. It's everywhere. It's in the movies we watch, the tech we use, the world around us.
That's such a great point. So, to everyone listening, you've got this. Embrace the challenge, have fun with it, and remember all the amazing insights we've talked about today.
Yeah, good luck. You're going to do great.
It sounds like, wow, you've given me like this huge toolkit,
Well, I hope so.
you like really prep for this quiz. And I'm actually feeling a lot more confident already.
Good. That's what we want.
You know what I really like about all these techniques, though, is it's not just about like cramming facts for a test. It's about like actually understanding the science, right?
Yeah.
It's going to help me way more in the long run.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the whole point. It's about developing that curiosity and that love of learning, right?
Yeah, exactly. And maybe this quiz will actually spark a lifelong passion for science. Who knows?
That would be awesome. Wouldn't that be great?
That would be amazing.
And you know what? Science, it's not just in those textbooks and classrooms. It's all around us. It's in the movies we watch, the technology we use, the world that we live in.
That's so true. Okay, so to everyone out there getting ready for their science movie quiz, embrace the challenge, have fun with it, and remember all these amazing insights we've talked about today. You got this.
Yeah, good luck. You're going to be great.